Welcome back. I'm working on the Dragonhide robes from Immersive Armors now. Again, probably just going to be another couple of hours, and I got dark mode on my black notepad. I use older Windows because I'm a boomer, so I had to install a separate application, but it's the same. So here I'm just noting the values, just the combined crafting cost values of each of the recipes. So we'll be comparing. Oh yeah, I've already made adjustments. So like, you take the Dragon Scale Cuirass after MLU modifies it. That makes just the regular Dragon Scale Cuirass. I'm starting with the lights and Dragonhide light robe. Mostly just moving some of the materials around. One thing causing changes is going to be Wakakuf, if that's the right way to pronounce that. Weapons, armors, clothing, and clutter fixes. Wakakuf actually lowers the value of dragon scales and dragon bones, which I think they do primarily because you're collecting them from, you know, like level 10 or earlier on the whole time. Give me a second. YouTube is telling me, please configure both primary and backup streams correctly. The comparison of the streams failed because one of the streams has an invalid configuration. Maybe that's because I didn't change the name or anything else for the stream, but I don't know. I'll check that out. I'll look later if that matters. I'm mostly streaming this because it actually helps me focus, and I'd like to be here if anybody has any questions or suggestions about it. Always interested. It's a lot of judgment calls to be made when working on Marlud Ultimate or any of its patches, especially some of these bigger patches. Immersive Armors is probably the biggest one, and you know, if it's not that I've never made a bad call, I try to be very careful. Maybe it makes me take longer because of that. Actually, that's probably the main reason, but I like to think that's also kind of why the product comes out as it does. So we're not going to find a lot of difference in gold value in the crafting recipes, like this robe here. We'll see. I'll just go ahead and start charting the regular dragon scale values. So between scales, no bones, that's only going to be 225 plus the Quicksilver. Let's do Q. Is 100. So 325 plus the leathers, which are 8 for the strips, they're 4 a piece, and 15 for the regular leather, so another 23 makes 48. I'm just gonna be dumb. Funny, the Quicksilver costs more. So that's, whoops, wrong direction. All right. Plus another 12, 27, 82, 602. Now all the hide pieces are probably going to be, they're a little weaker in armor values, so they'll be a little, and they'll be lighter too, but their gold values should be a little less. But first thing I need to notice is just how they compare in cost of crafting, and if the hide ends up being more expensive to craft, I'll probably adjust that. Probably make sure these are cheaper to craft at least. $250 plus 23, 73. Forgot about the helmet. $225, $325, plus just another 19 makes 44. $408. Alright, and then for the light shield, that's actually our Dragonhide buckler, which I failed to pull its recipe, which I have not modified. Doesn't need to be modified. That's one I didn't look into yet. Maybe it needs to be a little better than that. 25.5. It's noticeably smaller, but I think it's the same model, just sideways. Yeah, it's smaller and it's sideways, so it's just a much smaller attachment on your wrist than like a full shield. All the bucklers are like that. Let me pull... what do I still have open here? What is this? I don't need all this open. Alright. I'm going to pull the glass shield and only the Stalrim shield is the 4 dragon scale. Dragon scale, Stalrim, and the buckler. So it should probably fall closer to one of these. So right now it's worse than Stalrim or glass. I don't think that's right. 27, or not 27, 29. Make it just a little better than glass or Stalrim, because you have to reach 100 smithing to actually do this. So kind of the dragon hide, dragon scale, dragon bone, dragon plate, all that's almost as good as Daedric, and then better than glass and ebony. It's kind of a new option historically in lore, right? There hasn't been any dragon armor or weapons crafted since the last time you could kill living dragons. Yeah. So it's noticeably worse, but if you're going with bucklers, that's the design of them, is that they're weaker. So, well, the weight is good. Obviously, we're going to have to do something about the gold value, but we'll chart the recipes first. And right, so Quicksilver in there. Oh, we already charted that one. So we can start on the hide, light boots. Plus the leather is another 23. 73. Oh, that's a big difference right there. Is it... It takes one less dragon scales, which I think is fine. Robe. Not a cuirass. And yeah, you'll notice no Quicksilver's in there, but only for the robe. So 500, 612. Oops, right? 75, 150, 300. No, 700, counting the dragon ingredients, 812. Well, none of the rest of the dragon hide uses dragon bone. So even though visually you can see a lot of dragon bone on it, it's less than dragon plate still. And yeah, visually looks like less than dragon scale. There's dragon scale. Does not use dragon bone. It's got more Quicksilver, huh? It needs to be cheaper. The robe needs to be cheaper. So if we cut it down to one bone, it's still slightly more than the cuirass. I'm not going to be modifying the MLU originals. Let's see. I did add a little leather to the others. Maybe we cut a dragon scales. Add a couple leathers. What does that do to our value? Adds 30 and removes 75, so removes 45. 67? 567? Is that right? 225, 320, 425, 525. Plus 12 and 30. That's 42. That's 77 or 67. So that was right. I'll leave that for now. I think that's... Thinking if that makes sense. That makes enough sense. Alright, now for our gloves. It's 250 plus 23, 73. It's the same cost. It's the exact same recipe. What about the boots? One less dragon scales. Do the gloves need a Quicksilver? That makes more sense. So that would shave 25 gold. Oh god, we're at 48. Alright, now the hood is supposed to be a bigger difference. 150, 250, plus another 23, 283. No, 73. Same as the boots, right? Literally identical. And then the buckler again. Quicksilver again, the go-to instead of iron. You do need leather strips for a shield, just as much for a buckler. That feels about right. So we're 225, 325. Error, YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. Now what would cause that? Maybe if I lower the resolution on my music. Okay. That's doing it. Well, that doesn't make sense. Music is just download. But whatever. Lost my train of that. Okay. 225, 325 plus 8 is just 333. Alright, and then let's just start doing gold values here. Gauntlets, 1598. Helmet. My stream health is low again. Maybe my internet is just being bad. Gonna run a quick speed test. Download is far beyond what it needs to. That's why it was strange to me that I saw an improvement when I lowered the resolution on the music stream. Upload is worse than it should be, but only a little bit. It's supposed to be 20 upload. I'm only seeing 18. So maybe my maybe it's just my ISP. Yeah, I noticed on my last stream some, I don't know if it was buffering or what. I'll look at that. I'll worry about it if it crashes or someone says something. Alright, now if we are to just do straight crafting cost comparisons and just do the ratio, we'll start there. So we do 273 divided by 348. Multiply that by 2022. We get 1586 rounded. 567. I have to type right. Ratio is not quite the same on all of these. Alright, and that gives... This one will probably be lower more, but we'll just note it for now. And the shield... $29.26. I mean, those gold values are probably good enough as they are. Except for the hood. Now, boots are usually... lower. Or, sorry, boots are usually higher than gauntlets. It's always gauntlets are the cheapest and lightest, and then boots are heavier and more, and then hoods are like the same weight as boots or close to it, and then still more expensive. Shields are nicer, and then a better conversion for the body armor. So the ones that need to be lower would be our boots and our hood. So let's just take a look at how much worse the armor is. And again, we're just 0.5 less, so 14.5 divided by 15. Let's do times the gloves, which is 1452, and that brings us a little further down to 1404. And same for the hood. $20.39. I feel like we should do the same for the buckler and the robe. And real quick, I'm just going to double check. How much is glass armor? 5,000 even? No, let's keep the dragon hide there. Keep it above glass armor. It'll be less than Skyrim then, won't it? Boss Dawes, hey, just wanted to say love your work, especially on PS4. It's been a real lifesaver. That's awesome. I didn't do the PS4 upload, but I left those permissions open for anybody who wants to. I'll be too busy in the next couple of months, but I do want to make sure that the 2.0 update's been ported over for consoles. For PlayStation, you can only include an ESP. You can't include any assets like new textures and models, so those would actually all have to be cut out. If I put it on PS4, I'd probably even have to rename it. But thanks, man. Are you talking about Mario Loot Ultimate? And adjusting the buckler brings us back down to 2737. Before I clear that, let's see. What's our glass shield at? Interesting. So this is already less than the glass shield, and I don't want to go any lower than that. On PlayStation, it's called Bare Bones Mario Loot Ultimate. It's exactly as I said, basically just delevels and adjusts the scaling, no additional placements. Alright, well, it could still place plenty of, all the vanilla items. It's only the new assets, and those aren't going to be the ones that I even made, actually. Those Train Wiz made all the way back in 2012, mostly. Or Insanity, sorrow. I think Insanity did a lot of the models for the original Mario Loot. You know what, though? With Anniversary Edition, a lot of those are added back, and then you just combined Anniversary Edition plus Mario Loot is a lot of artifacts, so it wouldn't even be that big of an issue. I'd have to make sure the Anniversary Edition port is made too. The Anniversary Edition patch wouldn't need it might need a few things trimmed, but it wouldn't need anything else. It wouldn't reference any new models. For this buckler, I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it at that because it's already less than a glass shield and less than a Stalrum too. So that's feeling good. I kind of want the buckler to be less, but that's okay. I think the bucklers are. Most people, if they're crafting at this point, they're probably not going to go for the buckler anyway, and if If they do, then I'll let it just be a little bit better value, better bang for buck. I'll just let that be. So, I'll have to drag over my notepad. And the lights, and all right, 625 it was at, so 1586 for the boots, and then the robe was next, all the way up to 5031. May adjust the weights too, I'll look at that next. Gauntlets, they're really more like gloves. Yeah, he even calls them gloves in the model there. We're at 1404. Our hood down to 2039. And then our buckler. Alright, and then let's do last comparisons. Double check the keywords. I should have already done those. I realized I shouldn't have been cutting the auxiliary armors keyword. I did that on the ebony robes, and I think only them. I don't know about any others. I'll have to just do one last double check before I call it done. But the bad keyword was this one here, the immersive armor. See, it's so silly to me, this design choice. I mean, I can't really complain about this plugin too much. It has so much good stuff in it. As much as people, if you go on Reddit, there's people complaining about immersive armors, but there's so many options added. You can just take what you like and ignore the rest. You know, it's there's actually a lot of odd choices, and even the ones that aren't really a part of Marlut's general changes, I still kind of went over the top and kind of rebalanced it, because a lot of the numbers were a little silly, like 2,000 gold for the paladin armor, which it looks nice, but not 2,000 gold nice. A lot of them were really silly in value. It's been extremely useful in my PlayStation overhaul. The Anniversary Edition content hasn't caused any issues besides the occasional damage values or loot spawns, since it's outside of the MLU keywords. Super excited if you eventually make your way back to consoles. The speed you can grow and explore is just chef's kiss. Right? It's so awesome to... I liked that about Morrowind, was that... like, sure, on first playthrough is the best when you first find Daedric and Ebony stuff, but then that just makes making new characters more fun, because you can kind of plan out, okay, I'm gonna rush and go grab the glass armor. I know what I'm doing. I'm gonna go murder that guy next to the ghost gate and take all his glass armor, and then you get yourself killed 10 times in a row trying to kill someone higher level than you. I loved that about Morrowind, so that's what I hope. That's what I hope to bring. Right, we were... Yeah, I'm not going to go into the keywords issue again, but using this keyword, when the vanilla dragon scale keyword is just as good with vanilla, but in particular is fully compatible with all perk mods that could change the smithing perks. There is no reason I can think of to do what he did this way, but at least he made it consistent with all of them. I guess that would make sense, that if they're all a little imbalanced or ignore your perk mod, then at least all the immersive armors are the same kind of imbalanced. Oops. We're actually looking at the items now that we have the recipes properly compared and measured. Alright, so a little lighter. You could argue it should be a little more lighter, but I'll leave it. That's all where it should be. Boots. Yeah, 3 pounds. 3 pounds, no. It needs to be heavier than glass boots. And Skyrim boots. So let's just drag these two. And I don't know if I'm gonna need to compare the heavies, but we'll see. Where's my regular Skyrim? There they are. Right, oh, and boots. There they are. Oh, and we need the regular dragon scale boots included. Oh, well, there's no further down to go than the same weight as Skyrim light boots. I don't want to work in smaller increments than 0.5. So we're just a little lighter, a good bit more expensive, or less expensive, but if you're crafting for best results, then that's gonna still be okay. Let's double check again real quick. One less dragon scales. That makes sense. And maybe I'll even kind of overvalue dragon scales, kind of pretend like they're more than 75 gold, because not everybody's gonna have Wakakif. So I'll leave that if it's a little overvalued. Alright, boots, gauntlets. Again, big difference in weight. So 5, 4.5. Yeah, again, we're just gonna go just match Skyrim light. And then well, they're all pretty close. I'm happy to leave that as is, because you can just pile up dragon scales and dragon bones by the time you get to 100 smithing. That's what I did in all my smithing characters anyway. So happy with that. Let's cut out the glass and Skyrim. Now this one, so this is for perks that affect hand-to-hand damage, and Wakakif kind of fills in some of the gaps because vanilla doesn't, but Dragonplate, like, it would make sense. I'm not going to update Marlet Ultimate for this kind of thing, but that would make sense to just bleep. But I'm only going to focus on this. Auxiliary armors. Yeah, that keyword, we can leave it as it is. The only thing, immersive armors, normally keywords are just for smithing perks like tempering and maybe like a couple of other things, but immersive armors puts it in the default object manager. which I don't really know exactly what that does. I think it goes to the actual crafting menu in the UI. So I don't want to mess with it. I know it doesn't affect the results that I care about. Let's check out the hood. Now the hood should be more significantly lighter. Maybe not 2 pounds lighter. Wow. 3.5 pounds, less than half the weight. I should probably make it just match the glass, because glass is very light. Because it's a hood, hence it having a bigger difference in armor rating too. Wow, these are all so close in value. But that's okay, it's a hood. Vendor clothing, survival warm, then dragon scale. Doesn't take up the circlet slot. And that's by design. Now that's actually really strong. That's actually a very powerful effect. So it's a whole other enchantment. Did I not notice that in the other hide robes and the other, like, all the robes? Huh. Yeah, it's not there on the Dwarven and heavy boots, hood. It's gonna be all the hoods. It makes sense. You can wear a circlet and a hood together. Maybe the hoods should be a lot worse than helmets. Because I've been only making them a little worse as kind of what you accept because you want the visual difference. You just think you look cooler in a hood. But if it lets you get a whole nother enchantment, I'm gonna have to do another. I'm gonna have to think about hoods in another session. So I'll finish Dragon Hides now and reconsider hoods later. Because, God, that's such a big difference. A Master Enchanter, of course, you're gonna basically be wearing an artifact for everything you double enchant. They all get so strong, even with perk mods. Actually, maybe stronger, really, depending which perk mod you use. And then there's even, what is it, Summer Mist? I think Summer Mist is the one I'm using. I'm gonna just check that real quick. Yeah, Summer Mist has a Fortify armor rating, I think. Absorb armor, never mind. Go to Fortify. Yeah, Fortify armor. Cloak effect. And then, well, this isn't used by anything. Does it have a base armor? Really? So that's unused now. Now, cloak. What does that mean? Area fortify armor, which is used by an enchantment named Area Fortify Armor. I could be wrong. Now I know that I've seen, so maybe it's not Summer Mist. I might be thinking of Thaumaturgy. Now I'm curious about that. Yeah, Thaumaturgy is a big one. Head, chest, and head. Look at that. So you could put you could include an armor enchantment on your circlet and end up with more armor rating. Now that I can just leave. Although what irks me is that min-maxing mindset. That this kind of raises the power level. Well, I think there's even a vanilla. I think there's even... Yeah, now that I think about it, what is it? The Falmer helmet in vanilla allows you to wear a circlet, and maybe a couple other options. So that's not really a totally new thing. It just opens up an old exploit. I don't know. I feel like that it's clearly a design decision. And you know what else? I don't think you can wear a circlet with the regular mage hoods. Adept mage hood right at the top. Okay, Wakakith deliberately makes you do that. Yeah, deliberately makes you be able to wear a circlet and a hood at the same time. Alright. I'll leave it be. But that definitely means I'm going to come back and nerf the hoods. So now it's not just a visual thing. There's a serious functional reason. So actually, if we're gonna... I'm so easily distracted. Not dragon plate, dragon scale. What would we do? The weight? 3.5 divided by 5.5. Bring the armor value down to 13. How much worse is that? It's significantly worse than glass. That's probably too far. But it would make sense. So I think 13 is probably too far inferior. Where is my Whack-A-Kith? Alright, it's just a little bit below all the creation clubs. For reference, that would make it worse than an elven helmet. I think it should be better than... worse than glass, but better than maybe everything past... maybe everything before glass. Is elven the best armor before glass? In the light side? Hey. Yeah, light armor item. Skyrim, I already looked at. Scaled, that's right. I knew there was something else. Steel. Where's our scaled? What are you doing? Why'd you move my previously selected? Why'd you do that? Alright, so 13 is too low. Whoop! Not the heavy hood. Light hood. So would we... put it just above scaled? I can double check if cheatin' is... what Whack-A-Kith does to cheatin'. Dragonborn is 04. Puts us up to 13.5. Yeah. Wow, it was only 1 pound originally. That's funny. So it goes 13.5 to 15 on the scale. And Stalrim's the same as glass, right? Glass 19, yeah, we can. Light hood. So if we just brought it up to 16, would 17 be more appropriate? I think so. Well, just put it halfway between scaled and glass. I think that feels right, and that would be where roughly the same in between ebony and I think Nordic carved for the heavy side. Alright. And that's enough of a nerf to justify letting you keep your circlet. That's still gonna make it worth it. I think there's even a circlet with armor rating. Maybe that depends on mods too. Alright, so then our gold value. Are we? Oh no. I'm looking at the shield. Alright, 2039 it is. That was for... crap, I deleted the last number. Alright, so let's start with the crafting. Let's just back up. 273 divided by 344 times 2777. That was 2204. And then now that we nerfed the armor rating, 16.5. Our dragon scale helmet and our light hood divided by 20 times 2204, 1818. Or let's try the weight. 3.5, oops. 0.5 divided by 5.5 times the same 2204, and we get 1402, which is probably too low. Let's see about the difference. Just split the difference. Well, I have to do it right first. All right, 1402 plus 1818. All right, those numbers. And let's compare again to our Skyrim and glass and our dragon scale and now, oh, I was thinking about including scaled, but scaled is ordinary ingredients. It's, yeah, 175. We are not comparing ordinary items. Comparing items made from dead dragons. $18.18 is feeling more. It's still more than the boots. Do we want it to be even less? We don't want it to be less than the boots, do we? Maybe we do. That would make it the cheapest of all of these. The cheapest product. But it's the same cost to craft as the boots. Maybe we split the difference again. 1506. It's less armor. No, it's not. No, it's not less armor. But what the game is saying with the armor rating is that, you know, wearing only boots has less effect on your total defenses in combat than wearing only a hood, because at least your head is protected, assuming there's some kind of armoring involved in the hood. So 1610 makes the most sense to me. That feels more right. That feels right. All right, and then we can go down to our buckler, right? No, we're just going down to robe is last, right? We are only really looking at everything else. So clothing, survival warm. Did I forget survival warm on any of these? I did. There we are. Go ahead and take care of that now. Except for the buckler. Okay. Alright, robe and scale. Nope, scale armor. I thought get out of here. £10 to 15. We'll probably have to raise that again. Compared to glass and Stelrum. Let's make sure it's more than Stelrum. So Stelrum is 13. We did make everything else just the same weight as Stelrum. Right? No, the hood was less. All right, boots are the same. Gauntlets are the same. Hood is less. That's okay. Buckler. Buckler's actually heavier. Buckler we can drop down to match Stelrum. And then sure, we'll make the robe. Sure. And then I believe, I'm just gonna double check. I believe I already feel good about the armor rating. Yeah. Alright, and then one last pass on the light robes. How are our keywords? Looking good. Buckler's a bit of a different story, but that's okay. And we put Quicksilver in the Buckler recipe, right? Yes, we did. Alright, the light robes are good. So, I can cut the glass for now. And the Stelrum and the scaled. Probably the dragon scale, but I'll think about that later. And I'll think about it. I don't need to cut the rest. Alright. Dragon plate, dragon hide heavy versus dragon plate. So again, you're giving up a little bit because you prefer the looks, and you can tell by looking at it that it's a little less protective. That's not going to be a perfect logical consistency there because, you know, it looks the same whether you set it to heavy or light, but if you're choosing between them, Once again, you're just spending slightly less materials and getting a slightly worse product, but it is more stylish. So we're looking at 9 items as opposed to, of the heavy items. Ebonies are expensive. This makes a big difference. We did bring Quicksilver over to the Dragonhide Light Robes. Do we also bring Ebony over? That makes sense. Do we have any images of the Dragonhide robes? I'm pretty sure there's one here. I like this shield. It's a user image, isn't it? Does it do this? Well, there they are. Did this guy do this just for the screenshot, or did he, or does Immersive Armors actually put these items on these characters? I kind of hope so. That's a cool idea. Dragon Ranger, that's not the same. So that's pretty funny to make a non-heavy version of this. But that's okay. And yeah, when you look at the gloves and the boots, they don't even appear to have any dragon bone, but you can assume that they're underneath, that it's got little plates or something. Let's take a look at the dragon plate. That helmet is, even with texture mods, that helmet is. Is it only metal? I mean, these points are probably metal too then, right? I guess the whole thing, you'd have to ask, you know, are these, is this how the bones were shaped, or was there some kind of bone molding going on? Alright. You know what? It's not going to make perfect sense. In that case, So one less ebony one less ebony and then 2 more dragon scales. Let's see how the gold comparison comes out. We can bring leather over. Let's see how the gold value goes before I reconsider the bone and scale ratio. We're at 5 heavy items versus 6 heavy items. The ebony's heavier. We'll consider. Now the light robe gloves did not use a quicksilver, so we can probably cut an ebony ingot. Bring back over a bone. That's going to make a big difference in the gold value. Unfortunately, ebony is just... Wait, you know... Maybe it's not the ebony they cut. It's a bone. That'll probably even things out more. That's probably right. Alright, and then our hood. Yeah, if we keep an ebony baseline and everything, should I reconsider gloves then? Real quick. No, that's the... We're only doing this for heavy because ebonies are by far the most expensive ingredient. Keep a leather. So 1 more scales, 1 less bone. That's, yep, that makes sense. Now the robe, maybe... Yeah, it's going to be smarter to keep the ebony requirements the same because 900 gold per ebony is a really big difference in the recipes. Alright, and our hood. Well, I should look at the dragon plate helmet, not the hood, not the scale. We can keep a leather. Grabbing a drink, be right back. Alright, our hood versus our helmet. You can assume there's just like some ebony plating going on underneath it, so even though it looks like a hood, there's ebony somewhere in there. Right? Some kind of crafting magic. Do we want to cut a bone and a scales? We definitely want to cut a bone. So a bone is 200 gold less, and it's 150 more, so it's still 50 gold less. I'll be happy with that. That'll be fine. Now, what that... Keeping the ebony means Skyforge recipes. Huh. Alright. That means we can adjust X. Although we don't need Quicksilver reference anymore. Need shorten you even more. Pre-format my notepad. Ciao. What we don't need is the Dragon Plate shield. Yeah. Get you out of the way. Probably get rid of the dragon scales too, but let's look at our values now. Alright, we are looking at the boots, and 75, 675, 1575, 1583, 98, 1598. To the Curus. 150, 950, 1850, 1850 plus 16, 1866, 96, 1896. Let me try that again just to double check. All right, 150 plus 800, 850, 950. I'm way off. Wait, 18, so it'd be 2796, right? All right, 1800 plus 800 is 2600, plus 2750, 2766, 2796. Okay. Gauntlets. 475, 1375, 1383, 1398. Try that again. 400, 1375, 1375, 1383, 1398. Okay. 675, 1575, 1579, 1594. Try it again after we delete. Sorry about. So we can try it again. 600, 1500, 1575, 1579, 1594. Once I'm adding the 15, brain slows down. Let's go to our heavy robe boots. 225, 625, 1525 plus 23 is 48. This is easier. All right, try it again. 1300, 1525, 1528 again. Okay. Go to the robe. We are at 300 plus 600 is 900, 1800, and 16, 46. I'll just write it again here. Alright. 300 plus 600 plus... Did I do it again? 27. Alright. Plus another 1800 is 27. Plus 16 plus 30. Okay. This is why we double check. For our gloves. Oh, that's really close. That might be too close. Let's do the gloves first. These values are extremely close, actually. Maybe I'll leave them like that. Alright, scales 150, plus bone 300, 1200 after the ebony, plus 8, and another 15, 68, 73. Alright, and then our hood should be the biggest drop in costs. We add 225 plus 400 is 625, 1525 with the ebony plus 8 is 33 plus 15 is 48. Okay, and I didn't double check the gauntlets. Let's double check the gauntlets. We're at 150 plus 200 is 350 plus 12 for ebony and another 8, and then 15 is 73. Okay. Hood. Hood is extremely close to the helmet. Literally identical to the boots. We saw that already. Wow, the Dragon Plate helmet is cheaper to make just barely than the boots. I'll leave that. Alright, 225 plus the 400 is 600 plus the 9 is 15 plus our 8 is 33 plus 15 is 48. Okay. $3,206 for the boots. 7,804 for the cuirass. $3,122 for the gauntlets. 4,489 gold for our helmet. Well, our crafting costs are extremely close. So let's start with just the armor comparisons and look at the hood. Did we... Nope, I'm looking at the light. Let's go to heavy hood. No, let's start with the cuirass. Time to pull in our ebony for more comparisons. And our Skyrim heavy. Boots, armor, gauntlets, helmets. And I doubt I'll look a second time, but I'll look at the Daedrix too. Heavy robe. Skyrim heavy. Well, let's look at just ebony. Yeah, let's go with Daedric. Alright, King of Armors is the Daedric Cuirass. Ebony is slightly more than Stalrum, I thought. So we forgot the Dragon Plate. So it's right in between Ebony and Dragon. Regular Dragon Plate. That's a good place. That's a good place. In fact, let's make sure the boots are the same. And the gauntlets. Now the hood should be worse than ebony. Let's pull in the Stalrum heavy helmet as well. It should be less than the Stalrum heavy. For heavy armors, the helmets. Yeah, Nordic carved and Orcish and Cheaton heavy. Pull up the old Wakakuf. DLC 2, DLC 02, where are you at? There we are. Left it at 19. So our Nordic helmet is at a flat 20. Now this is one thing I liked having carved in the name. It's a little flavorful. I don't care too much. But that's a change that I didn't necessarily want. Bring over ebony. So 22 would be directly between Nordic carved and Stalrum heavy. This might depend on your perk mods, but with Ancient Knowledge, a regular Dwarven helmet might end up being better. Or at least almost as good as the heavy Dragonhide helmet or hood. That's probably okay. How much worse did we make the Dragonhide light hood than Dragon Scale? I think we put it directly in between, right? The next tier down. What was that? Scaled? I already cut it out. I'm not going to pull it back. Heavy hood. And Stalrum heavy and ebony and dragon plate. You have to compare if you pull more than 5. So we're looking at 24, 25, 27. So maybe 23 would make the most sense. I feel torn between 22 and 23, so 22.5. And then when it comes to weight, I think we should again put it at same as Stalrum. That feels right. Doesn't have survival warm keyword. Oh well. Wait a minute. I'm going to do that for my own purposes. Yeah, get out of here. Although maybe Wakakif did that because it has an open face helmet. I'm not a fan of that. I'm going to keep that change just for my own personal use and copy of Wakakif. Yeah, that feels right. Again, it needs to be, the hoods need to be particularly worse because you get to wear circlet. And I will respect that design choice of the original mod author, even if it is probably a bit imbalanced. That's whatever. Alright, now gold values. Let's start with going off just the armor comparison. Wait, no, let's finish looking at weights. Alright, we did the robe already, didn't we? Let's start from the top. We decided to match Skyrim. No, dragon is kind of... It's got heavy in the name. Dragon hide heavy robes. The dragon ingredients are kind of notoriously heavy anyway. So we can put them a little bit between, a little bit more than ebony between it and regular dragon plate. Let's actually put it right in between. All right. Gauntlets. Go to ebony gauntlets and dragon plate gauntlets. 7.5. And then our robes. Dragon plate armor, ebony armor. 41. Should be at 43. Two points of armor less. One point of armor less. 1 point of armor less. Should it only be 0.5 less? No, it's noticeably slimmer than actual armor. All right, and then our hood was the one that gets to be lighter. Yeah, same as Skyrim. All right, let's start with the dragon plate, dragon hide heavy boots. You know, if we just go off the inferior armor rating, 3060 gloves. Well, I should have done Cuirass next, but 2981. The hood will probably cut down more, but 22.5 divided by 27 times 4489, 3741. And lastly, the robe, dragon plate armor, 53 divided by 55 times 7804. 7520. We just round. So all of these I want to tone them down a bit more. Or do I? I want to tone the hood down more. I think that's the only one I want to tone down more. So we'll take that adjusted value for armor and also adjust it for weight. 9 divided by 12 times our 3741 comes out to 2806. I like that. It comes out to be even less than the gauntlets, but you'll look at the product. And then this is heavy armor, not light armor. So, that feels right. Let's take one more look at the robe versus, whoops, control click, not shift. Maybe we tone down the robe as well. Adjust for weight. $71.86. Let's look at the recipes again. Plate Cuirass Heavy Robe. Same amount of ebony. So I either want to go with 71.86 or split the difference. Brings us to 73.53. I like that better. I like that best. All right, then let's get to it. Heavy boots, 3060. Heavy robe, 73.53. Heavy gauntlets, 29.81. Heavy hood, 28.06. I like that. And now all that's left is our unarmoreds. So I've already put our warm keyword and our ancient knowledge enchantment boosting keyword. Taking off the immersive armors ones, keeping the auxiliary armors ones, all clothing rich. Weights we can leave where they're at. I'm not too worried. Our recipes are just a bone, a scales, leather, and troll fat. He likes troll fat in these recipes. Scales, a scales, a scales. So only bones in the robe, which is fine. Let's compare them to the light armor version, which is no troll fat, no quicksilver, one less dragon scales. Yeah, these are significantly cheaper. Troll fats, scales, leather. Now this hood also lets you wear a circlet. Yeah. That would be funny. No quicksilver. Alrighty then. We can just look at the golds real quick. Boots. What is a troll fat? A troll fat is 15. Oh boy. Alright, so we're at 30 plus 75 is 105. 135 with the leather, plus 8 is 43. Let's double count. Alright. 30 plus 75 is 105. Plus 8 is 13. Plus 30 is 43. That's the boots. Cuirass. Robe. 45 plus 75 is 120? 120. Right? Yes. Plus 12 is 32. Plus 45 is 77. Let's try it again. 45 plus 75 is 120. Plus 12 is 32. Plus 45 is 77. Gauntlets, gloves. 30 plus 75 is 105. Plus 8 is 13. Plus 30 is 43. Same as boots. Try it again. 30 plus 75 is 105. Plus 8 is 13. Plus 30 is 43. And hood. We're at 30 plus 75, 105. Plus 8, 13, 43. Exact same, right? Exact same for the boots. They are literally all three the exact same. You know what I did forget to do? Ebony smithing. Alright, that's dragon plate. Dragonite heavy does not require dragon plate. I did put the Skyforge, but they do need to require the ebony perk. Copy to selected. And then, is that condition sequence any problem? It's the same on all of them. That's a complete crafting overhaul variable. Lets you turn options off the menu. And then just the regular dragon armor. And then right beneath the ebony. And then everything else. Sure. That's good. That's good. Alright, so what gold values should we be looking at for the unarmored objects here? What if we just go by weight? Let's see. 4 divided by 13 times 5031, just in comparison to the light armor. That's the robe. Let's see where that takes us. Something. Boots. Just a baseline, just something to start with. 2 divided by 5.5 times 1586. 577. Gaunts. 2 divided by 4.5 times 1404. 624. Well, the gauntlets, or the gloves, shouldn't be... I'll probably just lower them to the value of the boots. And this is feeling alright, actually. So at 1548 versus... He set it at 2000. 2000 might be too high. Alright, last is the hood. 1 divided by 3.5 times 16, 10, 460. Maybe I should have kept the crafting cost totals. Maybe we just do 624 for gloves, boots, and hood. That's probably right. Except 1548 is pretty weak. It does have bone. It is the only thing that requires bone. You know what we can do? 624 divided by its cost. We have a 4.3636 repeating multiplier. Come up with 772. Which is probably a bit too low. It's unarmored, so we can't argue that it should be over 1,000 gold. And if you enchant it, that's gonna crank it up a lot more too. So what if we split the difference? We do come up with a number over 1,000. 1160, which is feeling pretty right. And then if we take 1160 divided by that crafting cost, that's our new multiplier, and multiply it by the identical crafting cost of the other three pieces, we come up with 937 for each. What did we do for what did the ebony robes come out to? I think I had a different train of thought for the ebony robes. Where is it? Ebony Mage, unarmored. Oh. Now, ebony is more expensive, and there's actually ebony in the recipe. Yeah, there's 2 ebony ingots in the robe. So yeah, it's 1,800 and change for the ebony mage recipe versus less than 200. All right. Huh. It needs to be a lot less. 375 for the primary ingredients, gold value. No, 275. Compared to 1,800. So it should be like, that's more than or less than a sixth of the cost. Less than a ninth of the cost for the gloves, boots, and hoods. So maybe our 722 is better starting point. So ratio of material cost to product is still really good compared to the Ebony Mage robes. But that's not that big of a deal. Personally, I'm gonna prefer the, if I'm going with unarmoreds, I'd prefer the Ebony. I'd significantly prefer the Ebony. We should do 772 for the robe and then 460 for the other three. Definitely not 2,000. Hold on. $1,200s, almost 1,300. So they're all just a little more than half the value. And yeah, that would also put us at a little more than half. Alright, that seems right. I like that. Alright, 772. I didn't mean to type that. And 460. $420. Funny number. We're actually raising the value of these smaller pieces. So drastic reduction on the robe. The hood does not deserve to be worth more because it allows the circlet. OP. Alright, that's fine. That is fine. Alright. And that is all the unarmored robes, clothing body, clothing rich, survival warms, enchantment boost. You're still getting the ancient knowledge enchantment boost out of all these. Do we care about the hood being £1? Yeah, I care. I care about that. Y'all. Out of here. Alright. One last pass on all this. It was correct. We've already double checked everything. Nope. Alright, you Stalrim, Nordic, Daedric, Dragonplate, Ebony, Dragon Scale. All the non-immersive armors. Get out of my test plugin. No adjustment to the unarmored recipes, so cool. Copy. Remove. Copy. Remove. New. Just gonna get them all. Clean out the work in progress plugin. Leave it nice and empty for the next batch. And I'll have to remember I will have to remember to look at the hoods again. I did it again. What the? How dare you? No, I never actually... Okay. It moved. My last... It did it again! What are you doing to me, Xedit? Just trying to trick me. Now this is weird when it does this. I always want to double check. I know that it does it sometimes, but you saw the conditions down here were empty, but when you opened them, it confirmed it was good. Wait, oh yeah, these don't actually need to be copied into the patch. They are unchanged. Here we go. Dragonhide Buckler. What are you doing to me? Now, I didn't miss even once, right? Yeah. It only ever tried to trick me into these two. What is it doing that for? Copies override into... Hey! It remembered this time. Well, whatever causes this to keep losing that might be a part of why I can't multi-select copy as override into a higher up plugin. That's why we double check everything. Alright, yeah, and I'll just remove them one at a time to be sure. We made a small adjustment to Wakakuf for my personal use, and we're back to 0. Alright. Well, thanks for watching, anybody who showed up. It was nice talking to you guys. Boss Daz, Lord of Load Orders. Nice chatting with you. And, I don't know how often I'll be able to do this. Can't always stream every time I'm working on these, but, again... trying to get this finished before the end of August, as I'll be busy. But I might find a way, if I'm not done yet by September, I might find a way to still get some progress in there and finish